Hey guys, welcome back to Polly's Paper Studio. This is day 4 of our Revisit and Remake series where we're taking projects we love from the past and giving them an upgrade with new paper collections and embellishments. And this is one of my favorite remakes because it was one of my favorite projects to start with. So this is a ruler frame that I created ages ago and was so sweet and charming, but I really wanted to give that an upgrade by including some nicer flowers and using some different trims and buttons and making it just a bit larger so that I could include this gorgeous journal cut apart from a Cartabella collection. So I'm just going to start by adding a quick picture of the original. Because this is a larger frame, it just takes up a little bit more of the camera space. So I'm just going to start by sharing a picture of the original, and then we'll set about making this project together. For the base, I'm using this very thick matte board, and I am okay with the color, but I do not like how unfinished the edge looked. So I just covered it with some craft cardstock and wrapped the edges, and now it's got a nice finished edge all the way around. So this is going to be very nice and sturdy. For the ruler pieces, this is just a pack that I got at the dollar store, and they are 3 in a pack. They are very raw. There's no finish on it at all, and that is what you want to look for so that you can add your own coating and finish on there. To cut them, you want to remove this metal strip. I didn't bring my pliers down, so I'm just going to grab it with the edge of this. You see how easily that comes out? You want to pull that out all the way so that when you cut through it, you're not going to damage your cutting tool or injure yourself. So you can hang on to this piece of metal. It's pretty sturdy for creating hangers for other projects. So this is a scrap item that you can reuse for other projects. So now that I've got that taken out, it just creates a nicer cutting surface. I want to measure my image first. So I've got this beautiful journal cut apart from a Cartabella paper collection. I do not recall the name. I really have enjoyed this collection, but this journal card for me was too big to use on a regular card, but I loved it, so I hung on to it, and I think this is the perfect project. So it's 4x6, like most larger cut aparts are in collections. So what I did was I laid it out, and then I added my rulers around and measured, and I came up with, it was 5.5 by 8, and that gave me enough room. What I want to do is overlap that edge because I don't know exactly where everything's going to fall, so I don't want any raw edge paper showing. After I cut these to the length that I needed, I stained it using this gel stain. I think you could use whatever kind of gel type stain product. Maybe you could use spray, like an ink spray, but what you don't want to do is use a regular craft acrylic because this is not finished at all. It's very porous, so whatever you put on it is going to soak right in. And so since this is in a gel, I was able to put it on and then wipe it down so that the color transferred over the surface evenly and didn't have any big blobs of color that was darker than the rest. You do want to cut it first because you want to cover all the edges with the gel stain because all of them will show. This is kind of rough carpentry, and so you want to make sure that you take every precaution to make it look as nice when it's finished. So what I did to cut it was I took a second ruler piece and then I just made several passes with a very sharp craft knife. This is not a project for kids now because this could be something that you want to just be very careful doing. And don't try to get it all very quickly. It took me several passes to get about halfway through. And then when I had that mostly cut through, I was able to snap it. And it left a couple of rough edges, and I took care of that just by sanding them off. So it does create a nice finished cut piece when you're done. You may find that your measurement isn't exactly perfect, and I'll show you how to fix that when you do your embellishing. But so basically what I did was I have 2 shorter pieces now and 2 longer pieces, and so they will cover the image. So the longer ones I've got on the top and bottom. You see how that gel stain finished that wood? It's so very country and rustic now. I just love it. The only thing is you want to consider, once you get that on, you see how you've got the holes where you would put, I guess, you would put it in your ring binder. These holes are just a little worrisome if you have your background not the same basic shade. So what I've got is it's just some paper tacked onto the back in a wood grain. It's not exactly perfectly matching, but it's close enough that it's not a startling contrast. So you just want to take like some double-sided adhesive here and add that. A couple of pieces will hold that on nicely, and then just tack that pattern paper into place. I did this on the original, and because the background image was black, I used black cardstock, and that was just fine. So I'm just going to tack that into place there and see how it isn't a perfect match, but it's much closer and not so glaringly different. So, okay, now we've got our 4 ruler pieces cut and stained to be ready to finish. What I want to do now is add the image to the background. And I'm just going to use some of this double-sided adhesive and roughly center it, because I know that I've got some overlap of the wood to the image, so I won't have any raw edges showing. But I do want to make sure that it's pretty square in the middle. Okay, so before I put any more pieces on, I want to consider how I'm going to hang it. In the original, I just had some jute and it was knotted, and I added it to the top of the frame, and that's perfectly fine because this really is not heavy, and so it's gonna hold okay. But I thought maybe I would like a more finished look instead of just something that was thrown on the top. So I've got some, this is sort of a lacing. It isn't suede. It isn't like real suede, but it is sueded. I don't think it's real because it was sent to me in a design team box, and I just can't imagine anyone would actually send real suede. So here is how this is gonna go. I'm just gonna add it underneath that ruler. Why did I choose this particular trim is because it's very, very, very flat, but still sturdy. So it isn't like round twine or ribbon. It's really going to lay underneath that ruler and not cause too much of a gap. So I think that I'm gonna take just a little bit of this express glue and tack that on. It might take a little bit longer to dry, but it's not gonna add bulk. So I'm just going to maybe consider which side looks like it should be in the front, and tap that into place. I'm not even doing this perfectly because I think that it won't be that noticeable once I get the flowers on. So here is this side, and might just hold it a little bit while it sets into place perfectly. So when you get to the actual assembly, I think that if you cut it perfectly, you are doing far better than I am. I didn't do too bad of a job though, and I have only one corner, and I think I can hide it underneath the flowers, and that's just because I didn't break out the power tools. I just used what I had on hand. So I've got one longer and one shorter piece of this, and the longer pieces go on the top and the bottom, and I want to maybe even think about putting the centimeters on the inside just so that it will have a consistent look all the way around. Probably wouldn't even be a thing you'd notice, but seems like the right thing to do. And so here it is. I don't mind that this is going to overlap just a little bit. What I do mind is that it looks square, because otherwise it's not going to look like a nice finished frame. So here what we've got is, this is going to be too short on that side a little bit, but I can hide that under the flowers. And I know that the bigger arrangement is going in this corner, so I'm going to swap these out. And that way, if it doesn't meet perfectly, it's going to be underneath that flower display. So this is going to be the rough design here. And I just want to make sure that I've got everything square, and that will be perfect. So what am I going to use to adhere this? You could use hot glue, I think, but I'm having a lot of luck with this express glue, so I think that I'm going to use it. Since this is porous, I think that it will really take very well. The one thing I don't want to do is get all crazy with it and have it splooged all over the place, because like I said, this may overlap that matting in the back, and I don't want to be stuck with a big gluey mess. This sets up pretty quickly too, so that will help. Okay, so now that this is set up, I'm confident that glue is going to hold beautifully, and now I can begin to add a few additional embellishments. So I have created a few flower arrangements here. These are the little Birdie Crafts flowers. I did have a few questions about them. They are going to be in a retail location very soon, and I know it's hard to wait, but I will give you the information as soon as I'm allowed to. I know where it will be located. I just can't share that information until they tell me I can. So I think it's just that they get to say so first. So, and then you can see how I'm hiding that gap where the ruler was pretty easily, and I'm just going to add that with my hot glue gun. So I've just added a little bit of a loopy bow made out of that lacing to finish the edge. And I'm going to clip off the excess because I don't want to have long tails. So last but not least, I think it would look very pretty with a couple of vintage buttons. And these came from that antique store. And I just selected the ones that had the string in it already because I think that adds a nice patina. So I'm just going to arrange these how I think they will look nice, and maybe even cover that hole. What if I cover that hole? Yeah, there we go. That looks good. All right, so I'm just going to add these and then I'll be right back. Okay, so that is it for our revisit and remake project for day 4. And this is the ruler frame. And I think it's just absolutely charming with the rustic finishes and topped with the beautiful flowers and sentiment. So don't forget to come back for day 5. That will be tomorrow. And if you enjoyed this project, don't forget to leave me a like, leave me a comment, and if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.